Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 106 of the Seezus Show. It's your boy, Sir Seezus, and I'm excited to deliver to you guys another fun-filled episode with my co-host, Trey Day XXIV. But before we get into today's hottest topics, obviously, I have to recap the last episode, which was episode 105, where my co-host and I, Trey Day XXIV, discussed major breakdowns for NBA trade deadline as well too. So I hope you guys enjoy that episode. Continue to support, continue to show love, subscribe, rate, comment, share on all platforms. The Seezus Show at Sir Seezus at Trade Day XXIV really means a lot. But without further ado, I know you guys are ready to get into the nitty gritty. Let's get to it. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce Trade Day XXIV. What it do, baby? Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? It's Trey Day. Day. You already know what's going on, man. Hope everybody's doing all right. Everybody's holding everybody close. It is hot outside, but we got hotter topics, so don't lose your mind. All right. What's good with you, sir? Caesars?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. Hope everyone had a great Easter. I was literally just chilling and just getting some side stuff done. Cleaned up a little bit, got some groceries. So no complaints over here, man. How you been, man? How are you feeling on scale 1 through 10, as far as like your mental state goes and your spiritual state goes as well too, because we don't really take enough time to just break down how each other are feeling.
I mean, I'm pretty solid, man. I told you earlier, off mic, really just setting the place, man. Setting the place for growth. That's really all that it is. And making sure I'm treating uh I'm treating my future self with the respect that he deserves because I won't be here forever. So the evolution will be televised, it will be live and all that other stuff too. So, just trying to set the place for, when I get to that point and I'm striding in a higher frequency, that I can still operate with that and not have to deal with some of the stuff that and habits uh that I may inhabit now. So always looking forward to the next thing, trying to be ever present in the moment, but taking those steps to grow in all the realms, whether it be financially, whether it be physically, spiritually, and everything like that. But scale of 1 to 10, I've been operating on the side of like 8.59. You know what I'm saying? Um, God is perfect. You know what I'm saying? So we keep it like that. What's good with you? How was yours?
Good man. Like we said over here as well too. Just past like 2 weeks, I just been in a weird funk. As far as like just not feeling as motivated, just creative hurdles, and just taking on the weight of other people's problems, and just little minuscule things that we just kind of come across, as well too in our everyday lives as well too. On top of the 9 to 5 as well too. So all that was just kind of like balled up into one. And I kind of really never gave myself time to actually, give myself a look in the mirror, give myself a pep talk, or reach out to, people that I trust the most and kind of just unwind itself. I kind of let everything stockpile. So I was able to basically, get through that this weekend. And I feel better. I feel like I'm in a much better place as well too, much better space as well too. So spirituality about an 8, mental fitness about a 7.5. Nothing's ever perfect for certain, but we can always make strides to try to get there as well too. Life is just all about adapting. So if you can adapt to various times, then you should put yourself in a good position to do well in the long run. And I like your take on basically doing all these things to set yourself up for your future self. That's pretty dope as well too. And kind of look at it as like, yo, I'm in a relationship with myself. You put in what you want. So if you're gonna put in everything that are within the confines of a relationship, then you should always try to better yourself. So that's how I kind of look at it as well too. Also been reading some books as well, like I told you before. Deepak Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Read the first couple chapters. One on pure potentiality with thyself, and then the law of giving. And then I, read another book for like some comedic relief, but still gives you life lessons called God Level Knowledge Darts, by Jesus and Mero too, which you guys should check out as well. But without further ado, are you ready to get into today's hottest topics?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, man. So this is not even pertaining to the National Basketball Association, but it seems like whenever there's a problem um, by an athlete, it becomes a problem of the NBA as well too. And every now and then we like to get a little drama in this and whatnot as well too. So I'm sure everyone has taken notice of the, I guess you can say a dispute, I guess you can say a sort of beef with Michael Rapaport and Kevin Durant. So basically, to make a long story short, I'm not really going to get into what Kevin Durant said because I don't know exactly, who's going to be listening to this. But to make a long story short, Katie said some pretty wild stuff towards Michael Rapaport. And obviously, if you guys know Michael Rapaport, he's probably been in the business for about 30 in the entertainment business for about 30 years, being an actor and more so from the comedic side of things as well too. And if you follow him, which I don't, but I kind of see him every now and then on the timeline or through the way algorithms are set up or whatnot, or sometimes he's on Undisputed. He's kind of known for being a troll and kind of just shit talking people essentially the whole time. So Katie kind of took it upon himself. We know how Katie can be with his Twitter fingers, and basically just went out the dude as well too. So I'll try not to say anything too jarring, but I mean I guess I can say a little bit too. He called him a B
Yeah,
word, and then he came back and said, "What do you say?" Basically called him a cunt. Um, I'm just read the whole thing. I heard it all before you cunt. Chuck doesn't need you as a security, you pale, pasty, cum guzzling B word. I swear I'm going to spit in your face when I see your dirty ass. Bet your life on it. Meet me on West 17th tomorrow at 10, or better yet, what's your address? 10 a.m., catch steak on the corner. Meet me there, you pee. And then he later went on to say some things, towards his wife. He said, pussy ass want to lawyer up. Your wife mad as hell, wasting a little bit of money on lawyers because you can't take a joke. How pussy are you? Your wife doesn't even respect your ass as well too. So they were kind of going back and forth on the Twitter DMs as well too. And I guess Michael Rappaport, from his point of view, is one thing to troll, but it's one thing to get in a way disrespected. And then I feel like whenever you get your wife involved, or someone you created like a kid or whatnot, then everything kind of goes out the door. So he proceeded to take a screenshot, and basically he related over social media. Everyone saw it. Katie caught some heat as well too. Online, Twitter, social media just went crazy as well too. Had it on numerous segments as well. Obviously, he's still nursing an injury as well too. So he basically came out with a little quote. When they interviewed him, he said, "I'm sorry that people seen that language I use. It's not really what I want people to see and hear from me, but hopefully I can move past it and get back out on the floor." And then he basically said, yeah, that's basically all he said as well too. So he got fined $50,000 as well too. But people were kind of, or these analysts rather, were kind of just saying like, what should be the severity of his issue? And then some people are trying to compare um, him to Donald Sterling. So obviously Donald Sterling was something that's completely different. Um, we already know about that with him and his mistress, but in the sense of he's kind of behind closed doors saying these things, and him kind of getting surveilled and kind of it, being released to the public. So people are just kind of trying to figure out exactly what the severity of his punishment should be. But I think given how much money he makes, I think 50K is good. I don't think it really warrants a suspension as well too. Um, and it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes you can't really let social media or anyone from social media kind of get you to that level when you need to you feel like you need to respond in that type of manner. For me, I would probably just block it or kind of just take the high road as well too. But I get it, some people when they feel attacked, they want to attack back as well too. Now, should Michael Rappaport have released that? I don't think so. I think it's some corner. I think it's like a bro code, right? Like if you're communicating with someone via DM, I think that should be private. That's the whole point of a direct message, because it's just between you and the person you're messaging. So I think he kind of was kind of a punk in that aspect as well too. And I think, like I said, he kind of got a little scared when Katie kind of, in a way threatened him as well too. Now, I don't think Katie should have said those things he said, whether it be racial or a slur towards the LGBTQ community as well too. I think that was wrong, but I just think it's one of those things where it's something where you kind of sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, and you kind of move forward from it as well too. But I definitely hope moving forward, KD doesn't get on this level as well too. Because if you've done this, who's to say you haven't, DM other people other things as well too? But it's just never, been brought into the limelight as well too. But what are your thoughts on this little beef as well too? Was Michael Rapaport right to, quote unquote snitch? And was KD in the wrong as well? What's your spill on everything?
I think this is stupid. Like this is stupid. I didn't see. I think I tweeted. I was like, man, I don't. But I think I tweeted and I didn't tweet. I was like, man, I don't know what's going on with KD, but like, I don't care. Like, there's too much stuff going on to like care about what's going on with KD or Michael Rapaport. Both who, I mean, I don't think KD's a troll, but you occupy that same ecosystem when you have multiple accounts and stuff like that. And this is no offense to either one of them. I just think it's not any. I mean, but who's to say how are grown men supposed to act on the internet? I don't know. I just don't think the internet is real. Like I still come from that cloth. Like I just, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it can be weaponized, it can be used, it can be good, so on and so forth. There's a duality to it, but at the same time, there's also the fact where like don't none of this stuff matter. I mean, when it comes to awareness, yes, it's dope, whatever like that. When it comes to mobilization, cool. When it comes to the detriments of certain sectors and groups, and then that gets nasty when you're talking about hate and whatever like that. But this is like lukewarm water. You know what I'm saying? This is like it's nasty, boy. Because you guys are two grown men going back and forth, which apparently they were like cool before. They were like doing like different, maybe like some commercials or interviews or
Yeah, I
something
think they
like
did
that.
like a skit together, kind of like on Jimmy Kimmel when celebrities read mean tweets. I guess they read mean DMs. I think it was on like Katie's page because Michael Rappaport came on Undisputed actually and basically tried to tell his side of the story. So he kind of trolled in the beginning and was trying to say, yeah, when I went to the coffee shop, people looking at me sideways. I went to walk my dog in the dog park. People were, kind of trying to avoid me or saying like you a snitch and whatnot. He never thought that it would get this far, but basically the tipping point for him was when he got his wife involved and he kind of felt like he was threatened. So he got scared essentially and put it out into the universe. And he said if he can go back in time, obviously he would change some things. And he said it's a learning moment, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, all this could have been avoided if you just, handled it between the two or like I said, take the high road like most people do or 99% of people do. So
Yeah, it doesn't seem real, honestly. But I mean, like, what are you scared? Somebody threatening you over the internet? Somebody threatening you over the internet that's not the government or a known game banger. Cares, bro? Like this is nasty. Why do you even jump into his DMs? Why you can jump into his DMs for a reaction just to post it? And I'm not condemning Michael Rapaport more than I'm condemning KD because KD he shows this type of behavior, very often when he's like popping off with other people on Twitter and stuff, certain stuff like that. But yo, there has to be a code of conduct here. Like you're a grown man, bro, and there's like, yo, look what KD said to me, whatever like that. On top of he's walking his dog. I don't know where Michael Rapaport lives, whether it be LA or New York or whatever like that. But are you kidding me? Like, are you okay? Like, you got better stuff to do. I thought he was a pretty funny comedian. Like, I thought he was all right, decent. But you start doing like this, is like, it looks like he washed up. KD clearly ain't got nothing but time. He's chilling, you know what I'm saying? Maybe making a return sometime soon, rehabbing, playing basketball for a living, bro. Like, get out his DM, shut up. And I think he was like responding to an interview he was doing. But Michael Rapaport came in hot too. He was like, yo, go help the kids in Brooklyn or something like that. It's like, bro, shut up. Like both of y'all shut up. It's like, I don't know. I have too much restraint to be going back and forth with somebody over the internet. I was thinking because I like to quote people's tweets on Twitter and stuff like that. So and I like to like get into like I like to play and troll about like the relationship like little lines. Like the girls be like, there's a thing going around. It's like, um, hey ladies, tell him that you're going to play pickup ball with your girls and that your phone died this summer. And I was about to say to this shawty, I was like, fellas, if she says that, go ahead and tell her that, hey, this summer I'm finding myself, and then keep it going. So I was just like, but I was like, I'm not gonna post it, whatever, like that, because you don't know how other people are gonna react. Because I know I'm joking. I know full well I'm joking. My friends probably know full well I'm joking, whatever, like that. But some people, that's all they have time to do that. They pop right back up. I'm like not posting to get a reaction. I'm like more posting to just interact with you, interact with my timeline, and bouncing off what you said. Not really even saying nothing to you. But I just saw it because you popped up on my TL, But this is beyond that. This is like there has to be a code of conduct, and if there's not, then be very cautious. And something I think KD should already be. He should have a team in place for that. But clearly, nobody can take his phones away from him. But so however you want to do it, bro. I ain't got enough money to talk and tell KD what he needs to do, and I'm not funny enough to tell Michael Rapp what he wants to do. But they both need to, figure out what they are doing before they keep getting fined or keep getting looked at like a sucker because you posting y'all grown men conversation on the internet. So that's my spill.
Yeah, honestly, and the thing about it is like once KD, like you said, like you alluded to a little earlier, once he suits up, no one's gonna. This is gonna be an afterthought. Like no one's gonna talk about this when he starts to play and string along a couple games as well too. But like you said, he got a lot of time on his hands, and you start to notice patterns between, or you start to notice patterns about people as well too. He's one of those guys where if you say something and he got time on his hands, he gonna say something back. So, like you said, he should have a team in place to kind of, filter all that out as well too. But at the end of the day, it's just like what is the actual point? Because Michael Rapaport also said today, he's like, yo, we're not friends. So like I just don't understand just the
Stupid.
dynamic between the two. But like you said, it's kind of yesterday's paper, right? It's old news. So,
Yeah.
hopefully Katie learned from that. And then people in general as well too. Like be careful what you tweet because people will find your tweets from the past, and just be careful who you message as well too. Not everybody your friends. So some people have some spite in them. They can hold on to some things, hold on to some grudges from years in the past, and kind of bring those up to kind of tarnish you. So just be careful of how you move online as well too. Nothing's ever quote unquote removed from the internet. So just be careful with that as well too. Moving on to that, a little bit more drama, but kind of a little bit more lighter, a little bit funnier as well too. So Paul Pierce was on IG Live this weekend, and boy, oh boy, I wish I was in that IG Live right there. He had about 300 plus people on IG Live. His old ass. He was drunk, and he was in a room full of strippers. And he was just having a good time. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a massage. He was watching some girls twerk. And he was just having a good time. So a lot of people kind of poke fun at it as well too, and they're like, "Oh, okay, Paul Pierce kind of solidified he is better than D Wade, or Paul Pierce is the GOAT, this and that." So I had a laugh out of it as well too. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, but sometimes I know how um, the corporate world within the realm he is allocated to can be sometimes. So I was like I said, I thought it was all fun and jokes, like people chiming in, NBA Twitter chiming on and whatnot as well too. So I was like, damn, he works on the jump, and his co-host is the redhead lady named Rachel Nichols as well too, and
Hmm.
she can be a little petty sometimes as well too. So I was like, yo, is he gonna do something where he gets fined and this and that, and then obviously like apparently he's married and stuff like that. So like, what's gonna happen on with that? So that was pretty funny. I don't think nothing should come about it. If anything, you should probably, if you're doing something, maybe make it publicized so you're not gonna get in trouble if you DMing the shorty or whatever X, Y, and Z for proof. But what are your thoughts on old man Paul Pierce trying to have a little bit of fun? I think he was on some stuff, cause and
I
he
mean,
may have forgot to hit the close friend joint for real, cause he definitely got caught slipping. But what are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, hey, retired NBA player. I'm sure he's did that 1,000 times. I mean, was it postable? No. Again, this is back to the digital age, question. But I'm never gonna have a problem with strippers because I think strippers are amazing. You know what I'm saying? I have been to the strip club. I'm lying. Uh, I've been to KOD in Miami when they were open. If they're still open, I don't know, but it was a cool experience. You know what I'm saying? It was and I just I respect the line of work. I think everything they do, they're an ecosystem. They're relied upon. They're necessary to keep the balance of things going. And you know, I think I think there should be more strippers, honestly. I mean, I think people should try stripping more often. I'm seeing a lot of stripper polls from my regular followers on Instagram as well. And I commend that too, because people are getting better and better. So shout out to my regular followers too. I see you guys. I see y'all stripping, and you know what I'm saying. Y'all doing all right with that. So shout out to y'all. But yeah, strippers are amazing. Paul Pierce was just like the secondary in this. You know, he kind of facilitated the strippers, but strippers are um, dope, and there should be more strippers, and we should thank strippers anytime we get a chance to thank strippers. Yeah.
I respect that, and I agree with you as well too. Do what you got to do as long as it make you happy. That's all that matters. Um,
Yeah.
moving on from that as well too. So, obviously everyone knows Russell Westbrook's on the Washington Wizards, and they're not playing the best right now. But I think last week he had like a 30-point triple double, and I think he also had about like 20 assists or something like that as well too. So he made some history. And on First Take, Stephen A. Smith just kind of went flat out like ballistic on him. And he basically said Westbrook numbers last night mean absolutely nothing to me because even though that's great numbers, that's what Westbrook can do. We all know this. He's a former league MVP. He's the most athletic point guard we've ever seen in the NBA. And I'm at a point in time in his career where it's like, it ain't about that no more. It's about whether or not you can get to another level to win a championship. And obviously, Nina Westbrook's wife, kind of fired back as well too. She's like, you know nothing about him. Westbrook's basically the happiest he's ever been. And she also said, if you did, you know what he is. He's way more than a champion. He's a champion of life, a champion of his people. He doesn't care about your championship and certainly not your opinion. He cares about his people, his community, and trying to make the world a better place as well too. Russell Westbrook chimed in, and he was like, I watch these college games and I watch these kids and these announcers, man, they get on the TV and just say anything about a kid. They don't even know him. They don't know his family. They don't know where he's from. They don't know what he's been through. They don't know his struggles. They don't know his pain. They don't know anything about the kid. But one thing said on TV can determine how you perceive this kid on TV, which will allow him to not be able to reach his goals, which will allow him to not be able to get drafted, which will allow him to not take care of his family, which will now not curate generational wealth, which now makes our people in the minorities, the underdeserved communities, which makes the gap bigger. It's way bigger than basketball. That's my entire life focus. My wife, that's what she's mentioning. I sit back. I don't say much. I don't like to go back and forth about people. But one thing I won't allow to happen anymore is let people create narratives and constantly just taking shit for no reason about me because I lay it on the line every night. And I use my platform to be able to help people across the world. Nobody can take that away from me. I've been blessed to be able to have a platform to do it. Like I said before, a championship doesn't change my life. I'm happy I was a champion once I made it to the NBA. Like I grew up in the streets. I'm a champion. I don't have to be an NBA champion. I know many people that got NBA championships that's miserable have done nothing for the community, have done nothing for the people in their world. For me, man, my legacy, like I mentioned before, it's not based on what I do on this court. I'm not going to play basketball my whole life. My legacy is what I do off the floor, how many people I'm able to impact and inspire along my journey, man. That's how I keep my head down and keep it pushing because it's very important that you don't let the negativity seep in because it's been like that my whole career, honestly. There's no other player that kind of takes the heat that I take constantly, but I take it as a positive because obviously I'm doing something right if people are talking about me. And that's how I feel. And I put my best foot forward, stay prayerful, keep my family close, and keep it like that. So a lot to digest as well too. But what are your thoughts on the back and forth between Stephen A. Smith, Nina Westbrook, and obviously Russell Westbrook's comments in regards to the bashing?
Um, I like what Russell said. If I address that first, that's something that always needs to be said, and it can get lost in his narratives and kind of how he is. He's portrayed, and he comes off as not really taking no mess, and our ultimate competitor, which we really get the stories on how these guys are and how they're competing. We like ask them to be warriors, and then when they act like warriors, we're like, oh my God, she's doing this, she's acting like this, and he's fighting against something. It's like, yo, that's what we love these guys to do. So like, it's just only the regular person could you know, beg for violence. And then when that person or such and such is violent, be surprised that they're violent. You know what I'm saying? And this is not calling Russell Westbrook violent. This is just an analogy. But only us could ask for something, get that something, and then have a problem with it. Because now, once they're in that realm, then we're going to start comparing them to us who have never stepped foot on an NBA basketball court between the whistles and between the lines and so on and such like that. So that's one thing, and him, reiterating what he's actually about. That's important. That's important for, I think, more than anything, him, his family, and for the communities that he's affecting, because it's like, yo, like, and they know, but when somebody outside, maybe corporately, like, yo, we got to give him a break or whatever, a brand or something like that, they might shy away from it because they see how he acts on the court or such and such like that, which he doesn't act out on the court. He's just a fierce competitor where he's supposed to be a fierce competitor at in the NBA in a professional sports league. um I think that statement was fueled by your wife. You have to, like, when the Wiz says something, or when the Queen moves, the King has to be right behind it, or else you look like a sucker. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really just let your girl come out there and say nothing without the back and the view, because then it's just, oh, she just speaking out, whatever like that. And how a Black woman can get disrespected and being out in that space alone, even with her voice, is super important. That the men, and you would hope and you would think, like Russell Westbrook did, her, the men that's most closest to her husband, will come and they'll take her side and say something to reiterate what she said, not letting her voice be lost, or be transformed into something, or make it one of those things where it's like, oh, she has to fight for you, or like that, like not making her any lesser, but only amplifying her voice and what she says in result to that. Getting back to home base with Stephen A. Smith, that's one of those things where, for me, and everybody's not me, but for me, you have to understand somebody as how they are. You have to understand the chess piece, how it moves. If it's a pawn, it can move one space, two spaces at the beginning of the game, and it can attack and take pieces diagonally. You know what I'm saying? If it's a knight, it can move an L. If it's a queen, it can move wherever it wants to. King, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And Stephen A. Smith, when he is on TV, occupies a certain space. He is somebody that's going to get something that's provoking, provocative. He's going to get stuff riled up. He's going to create a storyline, because you can say he can get paid for the TV show he's on at daytime on ESPN. He can say something and get paid for that headline because somebody's going to write about it. He's going to, feel this more. He's going to get more from that. The network's going to get more from that. The more clicks we're talking about it, that's going to get a click. It's going to lead people back to what Stephen A. Smith said. He does this stuff for a living, and I don't think he's doing it to Russell Westbrook's detriment, even though he might be talking out the side of his neck, because they pay him to talk out the side of his neck. Like, they pay him to be good at analysts. So they probably pay him 75% to talk at the side of his neck, and they probably pay him 25% to culture his relationships, and boom, boom, boom. And he has to uphold how he wants to be in that space, like how he wants to be in relation to NBA players, how he wants to talk to them, and how he wants to, be able to get the exclusive interviews with people and so on and so forth, and not burn bridges just by his show. And I've heard him say 1,000 times, like, hey, I text this person, I try to get to the bottom of it, whatever like that, three sides to each story. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I believe he's still just doing his job. And this is not to discredit anything that Russell Westbrook said or his wife said, because I think it's spicy talking. I think it's talking out of his neck, but that's what the dude gets paid to do. That's what if I come up to you and I know that you're paid to gossip, you work for TMZ, I might be selective about how I tell you some stuff. And when I hear you say some stuff about me, uh, so on and so forth down the line, that's pertaining to the game that I played. You're not really coming at me too crazy, but as pertaining to the game that I just played, and you're working for TMZ, whatever that realm is, I'm not going to be mad at you, or I'm not going to really pop off. I think Russell Westbrook's response came more in response to his wife being peeved and going on that narrative. Now, I'll wrap this up too, but there's that flip side where his wife probably saw what Stephen A. Smith was saying. It was like, yo, yes, you have a job to do. Cool. I don't mind that. But the more you keep bringing this reference home that my husband's not a winner, not a champion, whatever like that, you're taking money out of his pocket and you're putting it totally somewhere else, which is how we saw Russell Westbrook respond to it. in his side of things. So she's like, yo, you're taking money out of our pockets, out of whatever like that, and you're painting a crazy picture of him when all my cousin is doing is loving his community and winning uh, on and off the court whenever he can. So look, you can say whatever you want about him, but just make sure you tailor the narrative as such. And I think that's what the biggest problem is here. But as far as people in the wrong or people doing something that I think was out of character or was unnecessary here, I don't think any of it really was. I think Stephen A. Smith does that all the time. He gets paid to do it. I think Russell Westbrook and his wife need to say that to keep status quo, to keep it a standards. Like, yo, you're gonna come over here, you make sure you're gonna come correct. And that's with anything, because had it not been Stephen A. Smith, it could have been even more fiery. But it's Stephen A. Smith. He tries to kind of walk that line, and that's a tough line to walk when you're trying to be provocative, you're trying to get the entertainment dollars, but you're also trying to create relationships, curate, and be a journalist at the same time. So that's my spill on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like you said, to piggyback off of you, uh, it's like CNN, right? You're getting paid for controversy, so it kind of makes sense. So I think where there was a disconnect was the fact that he did make history. Stephen A. Smith, the day after, kind of seemed a little bit dismissive as well too. But like I said, I kind of always look at it from both perspectives, so I can feel for why Russell Westbrook and why his wife would feel that type of way as well too. And a lot of it has to do with Stephen A. Smith holds a lot of weight. So whatever he says, everyone listens. And also we're in the social media era as well too. So I know there was a lot of at mentions, or there was trends as well too. So you kind of can't ignore that unless you're away from social media. So I know that kind of added to it as well too, and it caused both of them to kind of respond in a sense as well too. But when you really look at it, like you said, Stephen A. Smith gets paid for a job, and if we keep it in the stack, the whole point of playing basketball is to compete to win for a championship. So he was saying like, yo, like we're kind of in this realm where you've put up these stats, they're great, you're solidified as a first ballot Hall of Famer, but we play to win the game. So what I want from you is I want a championship for you as well too, because I'm not gonna let you get this slide, get this pass. Your greatness basically is supposed to be equated to a championship. So I think he could have, said that a little bit differently, but I kind of see where he was coming from as well too. So both of them weren't in the wrong. Both of their points are valid, like you said as well too. But it's just one of those things where it's like basketball isn't everything. You know what I'm saying? It's probably one of those things where it's dry with as far as incoming news. People always want the drama, that the hottest topics and whatnot as well too. So they kind of just wanted to, you know, heighten that in a sense as well too. But basketball ain't everything at the end of the day. And Russell West was right. Like, and not even just with basketball. A lot of people can have all the money in the world, all the, you know, quote unquote fame and X, Y, and Z and what comes with it, but they're never truly happy inside. So happiness comes with within. As long as Russell Westbrook's cool at looking at himself in the mirror, and like you say, he's been making, impacts off the court, which what really matters, and having generational wealth, sharing generational, uh, you know, you know, wisdom to people, putting other people in
Yeah.
position to be successful. That's all that really matters in the sense as well too. So, like I said, I see it from both sides, but like I said, at the end of the day, basketball ain't everything. So,
Right.
I and yeah, and that's essentially about it for real, for real. Um, Space Jam. I'm sorry, trailer came out, and it's going to be premiered, I think, in theaters and HBO Max in July 17th. I want to say. Don't
Tough.
quote
That's
me on that as
tough.
well too, but obviously this is the kind of reimagining of a Space Jam, or like a revamped Space Jam, which is completely separate but kind of the same in a sense as compared to the OG with Michael Jordan. I'm assuming you looked at the trailer. What are your thoughts on the trailer, and do you think it's going to be better than the original Space Jam, or should we kind of just be in this realm where we kind of just block out Space Jam 1 and kind of appreciate it at its face value?
And you can hear me all right? I'm good coming through.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, bet, beautiful. So I think this one is we should just place them to their respective corners. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciated Space Jam 1. And I think they'll have a lot of its elements, but I think it's a little bit different of a playing field. I think Space Jam 1 was so different for what it was, and we're getting like a piggyback off of that for this one. So it's like, all right, let's further the brand, let's reintroduce it, so on and so forth. Everything is nostalgic, but Space Jam 1 was like a moment in itself. It's like, yo, this basketball player, Michael Jordan couldn't act, but it was like, yo, we see our cartoons and we see everybody's favorite basketball player ever. The guy that's carrying everything on like this big screen with the Looney Tunes, making it so memorable. This is another play on it. And I think, as long as they do it well, they stay true to, some of the elements, some of just like the wow factors when it comes to, bringing in younger fans and, curating that for years and years to come. Cause we're what, 30 years out, 20 years out from when that first, it was 1996, I believe. I was talking about it the other day. It was 1996. And so we're 25 years, I'm 25. I was born in late 95. So we're like out of there. Um, so 25 years ago, and we're bringing that back up. So it's a generational thing now. So another 25 years, they're hoping that this film is going to recurate, carry it on. Everybody knows who LeBron James is, whether he knows basketball or not. So I think we have to just respect it for what it is, and enjoy it and not try to critique it too much. Just enjoy it. It's the moment. It's Looney Tunes, which is not as prevalent, but it's basketball, it's animation, kind of a cross between that. So I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun one too. I'll definitely be watching that right when it hits HBO Max. I'm still not
Mhm.
sold on going to the movie theaters, even though that was one of my favorite things to do before COVID
Yeah.
BC times. But I'm looking forward to it as well too. So hopefully LeBron, and his team, do a good job because I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, that'll be
Who
fun.
doesn't want to see a revamped Space Jam? So I think the main characters, because I think in the past it was what Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, um, and Sean Bradley. I want to say now it's Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, and Anthony Davis. So
And
I wonder if it's going to actually be just animated, or are we going to see like their true selves as well too? But
and
trailer number one never really reveals anything.
who's the lady? Diane Taurasi. Taurasi. I think she's in it too as well. Don't want to leave her out.
Yeah, for sure. And then someone else is in it too. I can't really remember. I think Lola Bunny is like Zendaya or whatever. But yeah, should be a good vibe. So I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you guys definitely, watch the trailer if you haven't already, and let me know what you think about that as well too. So moving on from that, LaMarcus Aldridge's debut with the Brooklyn Nets as well too. Played 2 games so far, averaging 11 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and is shooting 45% from the field. Hasn't played in about a month or so, but he kind of picked up right where he left off at as well too. And what's interesting as well too is that I didn't really know what was going to happen with DeAndre Jordan, but now it looks like out of sight, out of mind. He's just gonna be
Yeah.
riding the bench. And Lamarcus is just that we talked about last week, but he's gonna be one of those guys who, with Brooklyn being so talented and having those the three-headed monsters, you really get to play your complete game in ISO, and you're gonna really, you know, take advantage of a lot of open shots as well too. So Lamarcus already proved that, with everything going small, he's going to be able to play that small five if he wants to. So he's going to be able to take you inside out, and then also he's going to be able to knock down those corner threes as well, corner threes or top of the key threes with the pick and pop as well too. So it's looking like he's adjusting pretty well, and I'm excited to see what everything looks like together. When they actually have the whole team fully healthy as well too. But I don't know if you've looked at any of his highlights or anything like that. But any thoughts on Lamarcus? Making his debut with his first 2 appearances as a net.
LaMarcus looks good. We're waiting for them to mess up so we can like say, hey, everything's burning down. This was terrible. Why doesn't this work? I go crazy. So I think LaMarcus looks good. And we brought him in, or they brought him in. And he's doing exactly what they thought he was gonna do. He's an all star, or has been in the past. Somebody that can get his buckets, somebody that can stretch the floor, but at the same time try to anchor it with some defensive prowess and skill set. So um, nothing that we didn't think was going to happen here. And we're not going to go crazy, and there's not going to be a headline until they start struggling, and then we're going to like lose our minds, and that's going to be what we talk about for however long. So yeah, that's what it is.
For sure, for sure. And, just creating a subtopic of that, which I kind of forgot about as well, too. It seems like a lot of, people behind the scenes. So maybe like general managers behind closed doors were kind of, I guess, when he debuted and they looked so well the other night and blew out, I forgot who they played. Um, I want to say it was Charlotte Hornets. Yeah, they played the Charlotte Hornets, and then yesterday they lost to the Bulls, which was crazy. But shout out to the Bulls getting that dub. Vucevic, getting his first dub as a Bull. Um, league, the league kind of came out and said like, "Yo, like this kind of isn't fair. How people in the buyout market are just flocking to the Brooklyn Nets or flocking to the Lakers. Like this is kind of cheating as well too." So they were kind of thinking of, ideas on like, "Yo, should we try to change the whole buyout?" In its entirety, like what's up with that? My whole thing is like the fact that you got bought out, that means your team doesn't want you. And for the most
Yeah,
part, when people get bought out, they're kind of past their prime, you know what I'm saying, as well, too. So I feel like for us being so empowered as the players, I feel like it really shouldn't matter on where you decide you want to go as well, too, because by the by the written rules and regulations, you're able to go to anywhere you want as well too. And for the most
but
part, people who get the contract bought out, they go to teams that are contending as well too.
yeah,
It just so happens that the Nets happen to be hot, the Lakers happen to be hot as well too. But that's kind of shame on the organization who bought you out. They couldn't put the sufficient pieces around you to be successful because I feel like no one really, wants to leave. But if you're not producing for them, it's a two-way street, then, you shouldn't feel mad about that as well, too. Um,
yeah.
and it is what it is. Like I said, I thought LaMarcus was going to go to Miami. Boston could have used it big as well, too. But he's 35, you know what I'm saying? He's at a point in his career where it's like, yo, I'm tired of carrying that load. And he even said with ball like with Miami, I was about to go there, but they're on like a 5-16 losing streak. So I was like, nah, I don't really want to. I don't really want to go there. But I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to the organization, the pieces that they surround around their star players and player development as well too. So I don't think you should necessarily change the rules of buyouts. I think it's fine. But any thoughts on that?
I think it's similar to any other job. It's like if I'm in year 25 and I don't feel like doing the same kind of task a dude that's in year two is doing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same mindset. You think it'd be a little bit more competitive because we come from a different background as far as evolution goes in the NBA. Guys were like just staying away from each other. They hated each other back in the day when we talk about, Jordan going back into that Space Jam conversation. If you're going to get deep about it, but guys were staying away from each other on total opposite ends. People were fine with playing in Seattle and freaking Phoenix and wherever, the Midwest, wherever you felt like playing. But you were there and you were a rival. But now it's and you were there even in your old age. It's like let's get it done. Or you had those things where we talked about it last time, where you saw the Lakers maybe get it like a Gary Payton and Malone at the dawn or not dawn, but at the twilight of their careers. But now it's a totally different mindset. It's like, yo, why am I going to bust my tail uh, when I'm riding into the sunset? I'm not. I'm not the guy that came in 2 years ago. I don't. I'm not fulfilling those. I'm not going to get people's coffee. I'm not, busting my tail, bending over backwards. I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna have my little executive position within this company on this team, this veteran role, and I'm gonna get mine. And all these other little guys, they can figure that out. But I'm gonna come and I'm gonna get my championship. So I get the mindset. We haven't seen it before, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. And then speaking back of what you said, when the Lakers got, I don't know if it was through trade or through buyout, but when the Lakers got Karl Malone and Gary Payton, they still took a L. So
Yeah,
anything's possible, man. Anything's
and it's
possible with that as
possible.
well too.
Yes, sir.
Moving on from that, Drew Holiday just signed a pretty damn good contract. So basically They gave him a 4-year extension worth up to 160 mil. So it's actually 4-year, $135 million contract, but bonuses could go up to 160 mil. So that kind of to me ensures that Drew A is respected as one of the top guards in the NBA and obviously in the Eastern Conference, and B, the the longevity of Giannis Antetokounmpo staying with the Milwaukee Bucks as well too. But what are your thoughts on Drew Holiday getting paid finally?
Drew Holiday getting paid. You know, we've seen he's the same cat that was going through it like his family and things before, I believe. So yeah, I think and that's outside of the court, but even on the court, you hear like JJ Redick, people talk about him. You hear a lot of people talk about Drew
Everybody
Holiday,
says most underrated, most underrated.
most underrated, but at the same time, an amazing person too. So um, I think it's a two-way street, and he checks off on all the boxes, man. He's been in some different situations that might not have been, contenders, but a nice contract. They see that they can probably keep him, and he's gonna continue to affect positively the team and play very, very well. Um, I think standing ovation, hand clap for Drew Holiday, man. That's dope.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like I said, it's one of those things where you kind of have to see what exactly happens in the playoffs, depending on seedings as well too. But they have everything they need to at least compete for a title. And the thing is, with so much empowerment by the players, um, we saw what happened with James Harden. We saw what happened with AD. Like, if players are truly not happy, even though he got that 4-year extension,
Yeah,
he can get out of that. Him and Giannis
yeah,
can get out of that if they want to as well too. So they'll rock with it for a little bit, but at the end of the day, if it ain't working, they can get out
they'll
of there if
figure
they
it out.
want to. So it is what it is. Um, Gordon Hayward hurt his foot yet again. He's out for about
Mm.
4 weeks as well too. So now that's two major injuries to the Nets. Actually, three. I'm saying
Hornets.
Nets. Three major injuries to the Hornets. Malik Monk, Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball right now as well too. And I think right now the Charlotte Hornets are in the fifth seed as well too. And
Wow.
obviously Gordon Hayward is probably like their highest level score right now. I think averaging a little under 20 points per game. And it's just been that veteran presence that's kind of, you know, helped that culture move forward. So they're actually respected now, and they're going to be reckoned with for years to come as well too. But do you think with Gordon out, Lamelo out, their sharpshooter Malik Monk out, do you see them slipping from the fifth seed and potentially having to play in the playing game, playing tournament
Yes.
rather?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no chance they stay at that fifth seed. There's no chance. And if there's a chance, come back and grow me for it. But there's no chance they stay in that fifth seed. I think they slip into that plan.
Yeah, yeah, especially playing every other day as well too. So that's going to be a little tough right now. Like I said, right now they're the sixth seed right now. Atlanta won yesterday, so Atlanta's fourth seed, Miami's fifth seed, Charlotte's the sixth seed. So basically between that and eighth seed, they're only about a half game behind. So yeah, it's going to be a little tough, but. I think they're gonna end up having to go through the plane as well too. But man, if they can stay afloat and Lamelo, Monk, and Hayward come back, that would be exciting. It would just be exciting to see Lamelo in the playoffs as well too. So hopefully,
Yeah.
the basketball guys can work in their favor as well too. Another person that returned is Joel Embiid. Obviously, he missed 10 games. He was a leading MVP candidate. And he played 28 minutes against Minnesota, got posterized by Karl Anthony Towns, but he ended up with 24 points, 3 blocks, 2 assists, and a good amount of rebounds as well, too. And they ended up winning. And obviously, it's a back-to-back. They want to be kind of cautious with his knee, so they lost to Memphis by 16 without him as well, too. So that kind of also states why he's still in the topic of conversation as an MVP as well too. But more importantly, after his interview, he seemed excited to get back. For him, he said even though he missed 10 games, he said he was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like when I got hurt and went down, even though I got diagnosed with like a bone bruise in my knee." He thought it was over, and he kind of looked in the mirror.
Mhm.
He's like, "Yo, why is it always me? Like, why every time I'm reaching a new height, I kind of get sidetracked or whatnot as well too." So he's aware that he got blessed, and he's just ready to make this push. And one thing he said as well too they're being cautious, so he's going to be on a minute restriction. And then also, I think he's wearing like a new knee brace, so he felt like from an offensive standpoint, his shot was a little bit off, and it was just you know it's going to take a lot to get used to utilizing that as well too. But he said defensively, that was probably the easiest transition as well too. But through time, his rhythm will get back as well too. So, Sixers, I was impressed with him missing those 10 games. I think they were 7-3. So that just lets you know that they definitely are a championship level team because they play some pretty good competition as well too. So to be above 500 by a couple games and have your MVP come back as well too, I think that's good. And this is just a weird year as well, too, right? With these
Yes.
leading MVP candidates and LeBron James and James Harden and Joel Embiid. A lot of these players have kind of been in and out the lineup. So I think this is going to be one of the years where it's going to be a pretty even distribution on who the MVP is going to be. But what are your thoughts on Joel Embiid? Making a full recovery and is able to actually play on the floor.
I mean, Joel is a freaking machine, man. Like honestly, so and I know there's a lot of stuff to his mental. When you do have to look yourself and be like, "Yo, am I done?" And, that's with anything, but when definitely when you're in your body's your resource, and that's how you make money. And you've had a reoccurring thing with your body. And that's one of those things where you just don't know. Sometimes these are amazing, sometimes these are not so amazing. So. Uh, Kudos, blessings to him. He still is a well-oiled machine. Hopefully, he's be able to remain healthy. And I think the NBA is a better league with Joel Embiid in there doing his thing, but he hasn't been healthy as of lately. So, hoping that continues.
Yeah, and for his sake, is I'm glad that he's back now because the Brooklyn Nets are only going to get healthier moving forward as well too. Like they said, KD might be coming back as early as this week.
Thursday.
Obviously, James Harden just tweaked his hamstring, which is kind of crazy because that's what KD tweaked as well too. So I expect Harden to be back soon, but KD's coming back real soon. Both of them are 34 and 16 right now, and I think they're tied 1-1 in games. And the fact that we have the vaccine distribution coming out and fans are slowly coming into the crowd. I mean, fans are slowly coming back into the stands as well too. They say this year's like fans won't matter, but if people are starting to roll out with the vaccines, I think there's going to be a good amount of fans as well too. And
From
both of these
playoffs,
teams
yeah.
have very, very good home records as well too. I was looking at it right now. Philly's 20-5 at home, and Brooklyn's 20-6 at home. Away, Philly's at 14-11, Brooklyn's 14-10. So they damn near marry each other as well too. So I think that you should try to get that number one seed as well too, because even though Brooklyn has all this talent on paper, one thing holds constant. Well, obviously they only play 7 games with their big three, but one thing holds constant is they're still defensively challenged. There's no quote unquote defender that you look at and like, oh my God, he's gonna be a stopper for the night. It's more so of communication and just that team philosophy as well too, and just being efficient and on offense. But
Yeah.
I think they still are going to be challenged defensively. But if you can get a game 7 in Philly, it might
I'll be
become a
all
little
right.
spooky as well too. So I think they should definitely try. Their number one priority obviously is going to keep Joel healthy, but also definitely try to make that run for that number one seed because I think it could get a little spooky if you get a game 7 in Philly for sure.
Facts.
Moving forward for that, Oladipo came back, played 2 games. They won against the Warriors, won against the Cavs. He's not shooting the best, in those 2 games, minute restriction, I believe, averaging 7 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, and point 0.5 blocks. Obviously, with rhythm and just becoming comfortable in that system, he's going to get better moving forward. But like I said last week, the Heat got a steal. It looks like Depot is really trying to force his way out and try to play with the Heat all along as well too. So I think their team is more so built for a team like the Nets, where you're able to switch on all levels as well too. And I think their starting lineup and what they're closing with has been in the backcourt, Jimmy Butler and Oladipo with Duncan out there spreading the floor with the Ariza as a stretch forward Bam. So I think that's going to serve them well. So with me, I'm impressed by the games, but I'm not too impressed by Miami yet because I want to see them play 1 through 6 seeds from the East and West too to kind of really see where they're tested at. So I don't really care about those dubs, but it's good progress for, like I said, Oladipo getting initiated or whatever into the system as well too. But I will like to see what they look like against competitive teams. So I think their next true test isn't until next week Sunday, which will be against Portland. But I'm looking forward to see what they have in store because those are that's one of the teams who are sleeping on the radar, and they got better. So we'll see what happens
Yeah.
from there as well too. Rajon Rondo also debuted as well, playoff Rondo. Obviously, he came off a groin injury, and obviously he was a newly acquired piece to the Clippers puzzle, so to say, as well too. So he played 13 minutes off the bench yesterday against the on Sunday rather against the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, no Andre Drummond, no
LeBron.
Anthony Davis, no LeBron James, but the Clippers won 104 to 86. He played 13 minutes off the bench, had 2 points, 3 assists, 2 steals. You can tell he was just trying to get his legs underneath him again and get back in rhythm as well too. But there's already been praises from him by a player like a Paul George as well too. And I think he said with Rondo being in the spill of things, I think we can reserve more energy. I related to the relationship with Russell Westbrook in the sense of Russ created a lot of closeout situations for me. And so it'll be the same with Rondo. Rondo can get in the middle of the paint. He can make plays a lot of times. He's going to create closeout situations for us as well, too. So one thing that the Clippers have been struggling with as well, too, is their ability to close games and stay afloat when it matters the most. So Rondo's definitely going to help with that. Just his leadership, his basketball IQ, and his chemistry to orchestrate that offense, I think will work wonders for them. But it's going to be one of those things where they're going to slowly ramp him up, and the only reason that they brought him here for was for the playoffs. But any thoughts on Rondo's debut?
I think Rondo, again, like you said, KD or like KD said, instant leader. His main impact is going to be in the playoffs. Um, and it's just going to be one of those things where, when they need somebody to come in and be that imbalance or come in and be that catalyst, I think Rajon Rondo is going to be there. I don't think he's going to put 1,001 things into this regular season. I think he's there to try to win a championship with them. And that's why they brought him in because his performance last year in the playoffs. So I think it's a good pickup. I think it's just one day at a time with it, and I think he's really gonna show his value and his worth once the stretch comes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And obviously, when we talked last time, Aaron Gordon, I think only played one game with the Denver Nuggets. But man, I like this. I like the move. I really, really like the moves that the Nuggets have made with adding JaVale McGee and adding Aaron Gordon as well too. Because now Aaron Gordon is obviously he's gonna put up his averages as well too. But you allow a player like Michael Porter Jr. to just solely focus more so on the offensive side of things when you
Yeah,
can have Aaron Gordon be the one who's kind of like that Jeremy Grant from last year, like we mentioned like we mentioned last episode, where he's that Swiss Army knife where he's taking on the harder assignments on the defensive end as well too, and just playing that bully ball as well too. So Nuggets right now on a 4-game win streak. Gordon, since he's been there, averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And Michael Porter Jr., man, the past month has been averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds,
crazy.
shooting over 50% from three and over 60% from the field as well, too. So a lot of people are talking about the Clippers and Lakers. Rightfully so. When you have LeBron James and AD and you have Kawhi and PG on one side, it kind of makes sense as well too. But I'm still not sold on the Clippers yet, Trey. I'm not sold on them.
Really.
You know what I'm
On the
saying? I
Nuggets,
can see this
Nuggets.
year if the Lakers are fully healthy, no question to go into the conference finals, probably the finals as well too. But Clippers, with PG already like complaining about his foot being hurt and all that stuff as well too. I think he has bone edema, which I've never heard about. He has bone edema injury, and basically said it's a day-to-day process where we have to essentially monitor and see how I'm going to react with this well too. With him already
That's
having
scary.
something like that moving forward, and you're playing every other day, and you're playing extended minutes in the playoffs, I just don't know if
Yeah,
the
man.
Clippers are going to get past where they want to get past as well too. So if I had to replace them, not to take any knock on the Phoenix Suns, I just think they're a little too young. Jazz, they only have one closer when it's all said and done. So I'm looking down the entire roster. And the Nuggets, I mean, they went to the conference finals last year, and I think they're a better team than they were last year. And Jokic is just on another level as well too. So if it was a team to kind of get back to where they were or kind of shock everyone, based
That'd be crazy.
on the depth that they have and their coaching and their MVP candidate. I like the Nuggets this year, man. What are your thoughts on the Nuggets? You think they can get to, at least the conference finals or better yet the finals this year, depending on how things pan out?
I think if we talk about the Clips like we always talk about them, I think they're almost owed that because the Clips haven't showed us anything or promising. The Jazz, they were in that battle with the Nuggets, so they can put it out again. But I think the Nuggets, like you said, are that much better than that Nuggets team last year, and that was a good Nuggets team last year. So you ask the Jazz out, so you got the Lakers and you got the Clippers. I mean Lakers and you got the Nuggets. That would occupy that kind of Western Conference Finals kind of thing. Suns, I just like I said, they're young, not enough firepower. I don't think, and that's coming from somebody that does respect a Dev Booker, does respect the CP3. But after that, who do you go to? So yeah, the Nuggets look like they could make that run and be right there toe to toe with the Lakers. But again, with them, you do add some defenders. You add some defenders, you add some other things that could give the Lakers some trouble. But it was all about size last year when LeBron and AD, were killing people in the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes as well too. And then obviously Draymond Green came out with comments last week to summarize it. He basically saying he has no motivation for playing games as well too, because I think obviously like only seed 1 through 6 are guaranteed, but 7 through 10 are going to have to play each other to get that final two spots because of the pandemic and because of the 72 games as well too. So he made some news as well too, but this is just coming from a guy who is with the Warriors.
Opinionated.
Like they were the last modern day dynasty. It's
Yeah,
nothing but excellence in their eyes as well too. So if we're not playing for a championship, then what really matters as well too. And Warriors
yeah.
have been losing as of late as well too. They were pretty much the 7th, 8th seed for the entire year. Obviously, Steph's been in and out the lineup with a bruised tailbone or something like that as well too. But right now, they're 4 games under 500, 23 and 27 in the 10th seed right now. Steph averaging 29.6 rebounds, 6 assists, MVP numbers right now. But it just seems like they're just missing a couple pieces to get them back afloat. Maybe it's Klay Thompson. Maybe it's Wiseman having to get a couple games under him. Maybe it's looking at shopping to Kelly Oubre and whatnot as well too. If you're the Golden State Warriors, do you continue to build and if you can get the ninth or 10th seed, you try to play in, or do you just say, hey, let's use this as a learning experience. Let's try to get this high draft pick. Let's try to reincorporate Clay back in and try to make a run next year. What do you do if you're the Warriors right now? And Steph Curry, um, after the season's over with, he has 1 more year left on his contract, so he's kind of going to be in that Giannis sense as well too, where it's like, are you going to be a warrior for life, or are you satisfied with what you have? You know what I'm saying? Are you, or do you want to get more rings as well too? Are you going to basically deny this contract extension and essentially, see what's out there, and try to ring chase? What are your thoughts on all that?
I think Steph's hightailing it out of there. Keep it a stat with you.
Think so?
And then, yeah, yeah. Because I think either way you go, it just takes more years than you have time to, and the powers allow yourself to. Because they were going for Giannis, um, but he's kind of locked down at this point. And I don't think they had a counter move for that. So now it's like, what are you gonna do? Clay comes back. Clay's not might not be the same. He had a ACL and an Achilles. He can still shoot his tail off, but South is very much attached to North Carolina, the Hornets team that's making some noise. Not saying they're going to be a contender with the likes of the Nets over there and so on and so forth. But hey, let me move back over here with my family, North Carolina. Can ride out my next 4 years, kicking it, playing it. Got a good guard and LaMelo Ball. Who knows if they want to trade Hayward or whatever. I think they might try to keep Hayward, but I feel like there's a better outlook. Might be a lot better communication with Jordan than whatever the Warriors are doing with their staff. Going into the years 2022 until 2023. You never know. So I think Cel's gonna hightail it, man. Because the Warriors have too many moves to make, and maybe not enough conference bending talent unless you're like gonna pick up like a Kawhi because Kawhi gets fed up and such and such, so on, whatever and so on. Uh, they have to put like a package in front of them, and it's going to be up to this year in free agency, and possibly coming up and around that next year. And it's probably gonna be like, hey, if you guys can't get this stuff done, go ahead and like get me out of here. Give me the trade, whereas I go over there, you can wait till our contract's up, and I'll go sign with somebody else. Which could happen. I'll give him that respect because he is that important to that franchise. But I don't see him staying there for a career.
Mm, interesting. Yeah, the more and more I think about it, I'm kind of leaning towards you as well too. My whole thing is like, I think what he should do is not sign a long term deal, kind of see what's out there, but more importantly, let's see what Clay looks like when he comes back. If Clay is washed up, I'm dipping. If Clay is
Yeah,
healthy, and I'm banking on Wiseman being the number 2 pick, getting better, and Wiggins and what's his name, Oubre, learning the system, or maybe like I said, they shop something for Oubre, then I'll be like, all right, I think we can compete. But
yeah,
if their draft pick doesn't show any progression and Clay's a shell of himself, then if I'm Steph, like, I already did what I needed to do for you guys. I won you guys 3 championships. I'm a 2-time MVP. I made you guys $1 billion company.
yeah,
So F with that. Now you're still on going back to his roots. That's pretty interesting. I ain't think about that one. That would be
yeah,
kind of dope to kind of put Charlotte on the map with the young upcoming talent, and you kind of bring a piece with you over there because they got the cap space for it. So that's actually kind of fire. I would like to see Steph in the Charlotte uniform. If
yeah,
he can bring someone with him, yeah. But they look promising right now. Above 500 team. No one thought they were going to be this good, so I can see that. Or if they just want to say F it, if the Nets are just too OD, probably just going to join Bron and AD. That would be kind of lit too. But no matter what, I think it's going to be one of those. Let's wait and see what happens. And
yeah.
then from there, I think he's going to make his decision.
That's a fact.
Yeah, but I do like that Charlotte take. That's kind of jiggy. I ain't think about that. I ain't
All
think
right, all
about
right, all right.
that. So we'll see what happens a year or two from now.
They
But
grew
any
up in
last
like
words you want to
Virginia.
say? You said what?
I said they grew up in like Virginia. I think his father's from like Danville or something like that. Like they're from around here. Like honestly,
Yeah, I think his dad
like
went to Tech. Steph tried to get
yeah,
recruited from Tech. They went Rock and Win, so he went to Davidson. But yeah, they
yeah,
got roots in Charlotte, so it would make sense. Everything would come full circle if he went over there. But that would be dope, being in the East as well too. But yeah, that was episode 106. Any last words?
Do I have any last words today? It's a Monday. Monday's kicking my tail. Um, I don't have any last words. Not really, man. Love, peace, Afro Bruce, man. It's about to get warm, so protect yourself, stay protected, protect others. And love first. That's all I got.
Yeah. Live, laugh, learn, love. Make sure you're good on all levels: financial, spiritual, mental, physical, all that. You know what I'm saying? Take time out of your day for yourself, whether it's meditation, whether it's just being in tune with yourself, in tune with nature. Just do whatever you can, to make your day better. And it's okay to ask for help if you need help as well too. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 106 of the Seezus Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at Sir Seezus, at Traded XXIV, at the Seezus Show. We out.
Peace.